My name is Lolita Vaughn, and I am a special ed instructional assistant for Columbus City Schools. I have been employed with the district for 11 plus years now. I chose to work for Columbus City School because I like helping children and families. Coming from a background of being a home child care provider for 12 years, it just fit.
They see themselves when they look at me. Most of our students, are African American, and there's not a lot of males in education. Me being in that role, pre-K teacher, being one of the first teachers that they see, I know I affect change. They see it, they see a positive role model, they see a positive male, positive figure in their life.
This past graduation class was my first class of 6th graders. So they graduated last year, and one of the area high schools has a really cool tradition where they ask their former teachers to come back and give their diploma, and I was the only middle school teacher there for this particular student, and so I got to hand her diploma, and that was probably the most memorable experience.
The district has actually provided me a lot of tools and resources. I have the latest technology currently in my classroom with the Clever Touch board. I also have the ability to get my master's degree through Columbus City Schools and take additional classes for my coursework for absolutely free and incorporate it into my teacher schedule.
I chose to work in the district because I grew up in the inner city school, and I met a school nurse that was a nurse of color, and I wanted to be in a school district that had more students that were minority so they could see that they could succeed in whatever field they chose to be in.
They have continuous trainings and workshops that we can do at our pace online through Public School Works. They also have a no-cost out-of-pocket college tuition that we can go to school to obtain our degree.
Everybody is cheering for everybody. Everybody is rooting for everybody. Everybody has one goal, and that's to educate our students. Everything focuses around our students, and that's the biggest thing. That's why I'm in Columbus. That's why I wouldn't leave Columbus. There's a lot of room for growth. You're going to continue to learn. You're going to meet so many people. You're going to connect with people. If you desire to be an administrator, you can go that route. If you desire to be in a TOSA position, a teacher on special assignment, you can go that route. You're going to grow.
You get a lot of different diverse pockets in Columbus, and I think it says a lot with the district as well. Whatever community you find yourself teaching in, you are impacting a certain community. I find myself in the east side impacting a certain, and I know friends in the north and the west side that are doing different work with different populations of students that it's really rewarding.
If you love working with students and family from all walks of life, then come join our team. The opportunity to be a part of a great team is here. I cannot say enough about friendships that I have made with so many amazing people. My family has grown, and I love it. I can't wait to meet you, and welcome to our team.
Good evening and welcome to this special meeting, September 16th, 2024, of the Columbus Board of Education. Please call the roll.
Ms. Adair.
Present.
Mr. Cole.
Here.
Ms. Ingles.
Present.
Vice President Dr. Pierce. Ms. Reyes. Mr. Simmons.
Present.
President Vera.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Good evening, colleagues. Tonight, we only have one agenda item under board matters, and then we will adjourn. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adair.
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes.
Ms. Ingles.
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce.
Yes.
Mr. Simmons.
No.
President Vera.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Well, good evening, colleagues. I called this special meeting tonight to address some serious concerns and complaints against a fellow board member whose actions have negatively impacted our district's ability to maintain safe and secure school buildings for our staff and students. Although we have attempted to address these concerns with reminders of board policy and by taking increased security measures, these efforts have not been enough. To that end, I believe that the board has an opportunity here to hear from one of our colleagues tonight. Board Member Ingles has something she would like to present to the entire board. So at this time, I will hand it over to Board Member Ingles.
As many in the room are aware, I chair the board's Policy and Governance Committee. Last week, the committee met and we discussed two policies, one of them being the board's policy for visitors in school buildings, including board members. Ohio law requires boards of education to make rules that it believes are necessary and will be effective in providing a safe education for students, including rules that apply to anyone wanting to enter the school's grounds or buildings. We know that it is critical that we maintain safe and secure buildings throughout the district to ensure that our students have a safe and undisturbed place to learn, and that our staff has a safe and undisturbed place to complete the very important work of the district. From my perspective, and I expect the perspective of my peers on the board, we have seen a continuation of disruptive actions by one of our fellow board members that has forced district staff to redirect their time, attention, and district resources to this board member rather than their focus, which is the daily responsibilities of our education program. That board member is Mr. Simmons. Our board president and administration have worked to mitigate these concerns by sending a reminder to us all of the board policy, by adding extra safety measures, and by taking away board member building access, among other things. But even after that, Mr. Simmons has continued the disruptive behaviors on district grounds and by sending communications to our administration and other board members that appear targeted and threatening. For these reasons, further action is required to limit board member Simmons' access to our buildings, our students, our staff, and to us. Working with our board president and legal counsel, a resolution of censure was prepared that outlines the concerns I identified with more specificity and then outlines the restrictions upon Mr. Simmons through a board censure. I'm going to pass out a copy to everyone now, and we can read it together. Copy reads, whereas Ohio Revised Code Section 3313.20 provides that a Board of Education shall make any rules necessary for its government and the government of its employees, pupils of its schools, and all other persons entering upon school grounds or premises. And whereas it is the Board of Education's priority to maintain safe and secure buildings throughout the district and to ensure that the educational program is undisturbed, such that visitor controls are necessary to prevent the intrusion of disruptive persons into the schools or others whose presence would be detrimental to the good order of the school building. And whereas the Board of Education has enacted School Visitors Policy 9150, and the superintendent has implemented related administrative guidelines designed to protect the educational programs of the schools from undue disturbance and to maintain a safe learning environment for students. And whereas The board's school visitors policy and administrative guidelines set forth protocols for all visitors, including school board members, that require certain protocols be followed in order to visit a building, including making appropriate arrangements in advance of the visit. And whereas, the board policy sets forth other specific requirements for visiting a school building, including prohibiting visitors from creating a disturbance, requiring that visitors obtain prior permission, requiring registering at the school office, including a sign-in and sign-out process, and a requirement that no electronic devices are used to make any recording of the visit or conference except by agreement of the staff, among others. And whereas, Board Policy 5520 further prohibits disorder of the normal operations of the educational program of the district and/or any safety risk within the buildings or grounds caused by an individual or group, giving the board the authority to preserve order for the proper functioning of the district's education program. And whereas, the district's education program has, in recent weeks, been disrupted on several occasions by Board Member Simmons in violation of board policy and administrative guidelines, in which he has created disturbances of school buildings, threatened the district's safe learning environment, sent obtuse communications to other board members and administration that were viewed as harassing and/or threatening by the recipients, and otherwise disrupted the efficient work of the school district administrators and staff, to wit: on multiple occasions, Mr. Simmons has entered district property without making prior arrangements and caused disruption in buildings and/or caused the district to divert staff resources to his presence in the building, rather than their intended responsibilities. On some of these occasions, he has been found wandering through the buildings and utilizing empty offices and conference rooms as if they were his own. On one occasion, he was found standing in a central office administrator's office in the dark, when the administrator was not in their office and was out of the building. In other instances, Mr. Simmons has followed employees and students into buildings and spaces where he would not have otherwise been able to enter, thereby entering the district spaces illegally. Because of these concerning behaviors of Mr. Simmons, the board president instructed the district's Safety and Security Department on or about August 6, 2024, to deactivate any and all access for board members into any school building, which was done, but the concerning behaviors of Mr. Simmons did not stop. On Sunday, August 25th, 2024, Mr. Simmons sent a text message at 8:36 a.m. to a text thread of all CCS board members and administrative team members that is used for emergency communications, writing, "Christina, Tina, Jennifer, Angela, and Mike, you all have 24 hours to get me an apology and issue a statement that you will be retracting the report issued in May." Board Member Simmons was reminded that he should not reply all to the updates on the thread, but nevertheless continued and wrote, "You all lied." On Monday, August 26, 2024, despite the warnings from the day prior, Mr. Simmons again used the text thread to all CCS board members and administrative team members and wrote that he was repeating his colleagues' conduct to the Ohio Ethics Commission. He also directed a statement directly to the administrative team that said, additionally, to our staff, "If you have been asked to lie or felt like you had to lie, I am deeply sorry, and I encourage you to contact the Ohio Ethics Commission." He then sent another text and wrote, "Simply put, you have all been caught." Later that morning, Mr. Simmons appeared at Columbus Alternative High School and held a press conference with media outside the school during the day while students were in session. Mr. Simmons also entered in and out of the building. The event required several staff members to redirect their time, attention, and district resources in order to mitigate the disruption that Mr. Simmons caused for the teaching and learning at cause. On that same day, Mr. Simmons appeared at the district's administrative offices at 270 East State Street and entered the building unannounced and without making prior arrangements. Mr. Simmons somehow entered the basement of the building, where he was found by district's safety and security team and escorted to the building lobby. Mr. Simmons then remained in the lobby for over an hour, causing another significant disruption to district operations. On Tuesday, August 27th, 2024, Mr. Simmons appeared at Marion Franklin High School, parked his car in the school parking lot, and held another press conference for the media near the time of student dismissal. Mr. Simmons did not seek prior arrangements with the district or provide notice to the district. Again, several district staff were required to redirect their time, attention, and resources to mitigate the disruption caused by Mr. Simmons to the teaching and learning at Marion Franklin High School, as well as the orderly operation of the busing of students home that afternoon. Board President Christina Vera then sent an email to all board members at approximately 4 p.m. that afternoon, reminding them of their obligation to comply with Board Policy 9150 and to only visit schools where appropriate arrangements have been made in advance. Later that evening, Mr. Simmons engaged in concerning behavior following the board's meeting and executive session, whereby he intentionally blocked the exit of a room from another board member. Whereas, in order to maintain safe and secure buildings throughout the district and to ensure such further distractions do not detract from the district's educational program, it is necessary for the Board of Education to impose additional requirements and restrictions as it relates to Board Member Simmons. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the board formally issues the following restrictions upon Board Member Simmons, effective immediately and for the remainder of his term as a board member, necessary for the safe operation of our school buildings and to avoid any further disruptions to the delivery of the district's education program and the staff who work so hard to ensure the best educational outcomes for our students. Number 1. Effective immediately, all communications and/or questions by Mr. Simmons regarding board or school district business must be sent by email to the board leadership, that is the board president and vice president, and general counsel, and they will respond as appropriate. Mr. Simmons is directed not to text, email, call, or communicate in any way with any district employee or board member other than as authorized in this paragraph. Except as identified in paragraph 3 below, Mr. Simmons is prohibited from entering any school district building or grounds and from visiting any virtual school district event unless he is giving express written permission from Superintendent Dr. Angela Chapman and board leadership, both president and vice president. Calendar invitations do not constitute such written permission. Requests to enter school buildings or grounds must be made via email to the board leadership and general counsel as authorized in paragraph 1. Any violation of this directive constitutes trespass under Board Policy 9150, school visitors, and law enforcement will be contacted as a result. Number 3, Mr. Simmons may enter the school district building or grounds for purposes of his attendance as a board member at scheduled board meetings, but he may only enter the building of the scheduled meeting and may arrive no earlier than 30 minutes in advance of the officially noticed start time for the meeting. Mr. Simmons may no longer offer office hours on school district property without first making a request and receiving written authorization from Superintendent Dr. Angela Chapman and board leadership to include a time and designated space for such office hours. Mr. Simmons' attendance at board meetings is conditioned upon his cooperation with district safety precautions as used with other members of the public entering the property, such as metal detecting screening. After entering the building, Mr. Simmons will be assigned security escort to remain with him as he walks in and out of the board meeting rooms. The security escort assigned to Mr. Simmons will also serve as a safety precaution to resolve any safety concerns Mr. Simmons has about his own safety while on school grounds. While Mr. Simmons is inside the building, he is prohibited from entering spaces other than the board meeting rooms except for restroom needs. Mr. Simmons may not park on any school district grounds, including parking lots, except for board meetings scheduled at the 3700 South High Street building, in which case Mr. Simmons will receive instructions in advance with parking assigned to him. Number 4, Mr. Simmons is prohibited from representing the Board of Education at any event or proceeding, including but not limited to student ceremonies, community meetings, board committee meetings, graduations, building visits, etc., while held in person or virtually, unless he is given express prior written authority as detailed in paragraph 2. Consistent with Board Bylaw 0148, public expression of members, Mr. Simmons is free to make public statements on school matters to local media and others, but in doing so, he must make it clear that his views do not reflect the view of the board or of his colleagues on the board. Number 5, as Board President Vera explained in correspondence to Mr. Simmons dated May 29, 2024, Mr. Simmons has been removed from all committee assignments. In addition, Mr. Simmons is prohibited from attending any paid professional development as a board member unless approved in writing by board leadership and is required to turn in his board member badge to the board president. Number 6, the direct communications to board members identified in the Board of Education and Superintendent Communication and Operating Norms will no longer be provided to Mr. Simmons by district employees, including the superintendent and board clerks. To that end, Mr. Simmons will not be scheduled for one-on-one monthly meetings with the superintendent or provided an agenda review with the board clerk, nor will he have direct communication or one-on-one meetings with the district internal auditor or treasurer. Mr. Simmons will continue to receive the superintendent's weekly report, general and emergency communications, SOFG reports, and meeting agendas. If Mr. Simmons has questions, comments, or requests, he should direct those to board leadership and general counsel, and they will be directed to the appropriate person for a response. If Mr. Simmons has questions about a meeting agenda, he should add those questions to the web document available to board members for that purpose. Be it further resolved that this resolution in no way prohibits Mr. Simmons from filing complaints with the Ohio Ethics Commission, Ohio Auditor of State, or other state and federal agencies and/or courts. The Board of Education understands that Mr. Simmons' legal right to take such actions, and this resolution is not an attempt to prohibit or chill Mr. Simmons from exercising his legal rights. Be it further resolved that Board Member Simmons is censured for violating the board's policies for school visitors and disorder and demonstration. The board restates its commitment to prioritize the safety and security of the district's staff and students and to provide them with a learning environment and working conditions free of the above identified disruptions. Be it further resolved that because of the board's extreme disappointment in Board Member Simmons' disregard of such policies and the repeated nature of the disregard, Board Member Simmons is officially requested by those voting in favor of this resolution to submit his resignation from the Columbus City School District Board of Education effective immediately. Finally, be it resolved that the district superintendent and board president are hereby given the authority to implement the tasks necessary to comply with this resolution. At this time, Madam President, I make a motion that the board approve and adopt this resolution and censure of Board Member Simmons.
That is a
Second.
motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce?
Yes.
Madam President, are you going to deny me the opportunity to speak about this
You're out
censure?
of order.
Okay.
Ms. Reyes?
You're out of order, and if you do not comply, you
Simmons?
will be asked to leave.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
President Beer?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. So at this time, all right, colleagues, well, I thank you, Board Member Ingles, for bringing this resolution before us this evening. And I will say, this is in no shape or form a retaliation. This is about the safety of our students, our staff. And, I'm really disappointed that we still are here having to deal with this. At the end of the day, we're here to serve students. That's what this board, a majority of this board has committed to, moving the work forward. And unfortunately, not everybody is interested in that. And so I recognize that this is hard on everybody. And most importantly, our students and our families deserve better. And at the end of the day, as a board, we will not tolerate or compromise the safety of this district for anyone. No board member is above the policy. And so before we close, I just wanted to mention that. And at this time, all I need is a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
President Beer?
Yes,
Motion carried.
we are adjourned.